morning, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Thank y'all so much for tapping back in to see what I have to say. I promise y'all, it truly does mean the world to me. But with that being said, let's hop into it. We're talking about Quant Network, okay? But before we get started, I want to say thank y'all. Thank you for all of the new subscribers. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all of the comments. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you for actually being a part of the community and finding value in the videos. Thank y'all for all of y'all that make it all the way to the end and put the keyword in. Thank all of y'all, like for real, it really do mean the world to me. But we're talking about Quant Network, okay, you guys? Quant has had so many announcements lately. We've had the SATP announcement. We had the Oracle announcement. You know, going back last year, we had the Project Rosalind announcement. We had the RLN announcement. We've had so many things showing Quant being a part of major infrastructure, okay? Follow me on this. But in this video, we're tapping into a few things, okay? We're going to talk about an Innovate Finance meeting. Now, me and my boy Maximus Crypto actually did a little piece of this in one of our videos about a week ago. But my boy CYPRX just did more of a deep dive on the whole thing. So I'm going to throw a little bit of that CYPRX video in here so you can kind of see what's happening behind the scenes. People always say Quant's always so quiet, or they very seldom post on X, or that they don't have anything going on, or all the stuff that they have put out is all old news. Remember this, an announcement is an announcement. Unless you hear something that is some type of decoupling from that announcement, that means that announcement is in the background, working and building and creating infrastructure, okay? Follow me on this. But in this first video, it's coming from my boy CYPRX. The first part of this video, it is a gentleman talking about the adoption and how institutions and how mass adoption happens with new technology, okay? The second part of the video is jumping into that Innovate Finance closed door meeting, okay? So follow me on this. You want to stick around for this because we're going to tap into also in this video the TC307. And I know y'all heard me say TC, tongue twister, TC307, the standard for building on blockchain all the time, okay? And it's been a while since I actually dived into TC307. I just want y'all to see all of the countries and all of the major companies that are tied to ISO TC307, the Quant Network standard, the global standard for building on blockchain and distributed ledger technologies, okay? So follow me on this video. You want to stick around to the end. You might learn something, okay? But this very first video, and I will be right back.
Late majority, and laggards. Innovators and early adopters are the first to adopt technology, usually due to curiosity and risk tolerance, probably a lot of folks in the room and at this conference. Early and late majority represent the larger audience that wait until the technology is proven and more mature. And laggards are the last to adopt, usually resistant to change. Relevant here, maybe that's the governments, regulators, and perhaps the banks. And so I thought it was helpful to help contextualize where we are. And so the question is, where are we on this? We're in the green area. And so clearly we have a long way to go before there's full adoption. But what it also tells you is that we're out of the early stages. And so that means that folks are starting to give up this notion that this is some sort of gimmick. It is real. And if it is real, then again, we have a long way to go before this becomes, more mainstream. And so at Hidden Road, we've been pretty consistent with this from the start that we think crypto is the 7th liquid investable asset class. It's encouraging. There's lots of folks now referring to it in the same way. Investors, retail and institutional, all have their money invested in 6 asset classes: equities, credit, rates, commodities, real estate, and cash. And crypto is definitely the 7th.
And that dive into the closed door meetings first. This was posted about a week ago from Innovate Finance. So we are delighted to host Matthew Long, Director of Payments and Digital Assets, and Jane Moore, Head of Payments and Digital Assets, at our first joint Innovate Finance and Digital Pound Foundation Roundtable, where we discussed their crypto roadmap and how the work to consult and implement it is currently being divided up. Great to see so many members, including Matthew Osborne, and it goes on to say some more members, and then it mentions Gilbert Verdian, right? Obviously, of course, the CEO of Quant Network. And if we see here is some pictures from that roundtable discussion. I believe this gentleman right here sitting in the 2nd row on the right-hand side is Gilbert Verdian. We can kind of tell by his little bald spot on the top of his head. But yeah, so this just goes to prove that Quant, even though they're not on X anymore and everybody was kind of freaking out about that, they are still sitting in on these closed door meetings, helping build out the future financial infrastructure with large organizations and representatives from within the industry, okay? And if we even head over here to Innovate Finance, you can also see their members directory list. Quant still exists right there directly on their website. So I thought that that was interesting just to show you guys some recent closed door roundtables that Quant has recently participated in, right? Moving on, this is an up-and-coming event that take place. I don't know when I'm going to be releasing this particular video breakdown. However, this has not happened yet. This is an event that takes place on March 13th, 2025, hosted by the Future of Finance, labeled Digital Asset Exchanges. Will tokenization be the nemesis of exchanges or the remaking of them? And we can see right down here, one of the sponsors of this event is Quant. All right. So again, just showing you guys that they are participating in ongoing developments and panel discussions and events that are taking place in 2025. So this is definitely something to look forward to. Maybe we can see some video breakdowns and some panel discussions on the Future of Finance YouTube from this event in the future. Hopefully, if they do post them, we will definitely be paying attention to that here at CYPRX.
Now, you just saw, you heard from the man, and you heard how they're considering this the 7th sector of investing. Follow what the distributed ledger technology sector is building out globally. It's incredible. But then you saw from Innovate Finance, and then you see Gilbert Verdian sitting right there. You see him being named literally in the email or tweet or whatever that was on the screen. Understand, just because a project is quiet doesn't mean that it's dead. You might call it a dino coin or call it, whatever you want to call it. But guess what? They're working. And guess what? They're moving and they're building. And that's what I care about when I'm thinking of things that I am starting to deploy capital in, for the future. And I'll put it like that because this is not financial advice. This is just me kind of sort of talking to a mirror, letting y'all know what I'm thinking about these distributed ledger technology projects that are changing the world, you guys. Changing the world. Understand what's being laid out right in front of our faces, okay? For real, for real, for real. But this very next video, it's a little bit more from that CYPRX video. But now we're getting ready to dive into an entity that is literally building out infrastructure. Follow what I'm saying for digital identities. Understand what's happening. Understand that TC307 also have a sector for digital identity. Understand when you see the players like Oracle that's sitting right there, you will see that that's a Quant Network tie right there. But there's also a few other names on that list that tie directly into Quant and also tie directly into ISO TC307, okay? So follow me on this. But this next video, let's hop into it and I'll be right back.
Digital identities are critical for future trade. They connect the legal entity of a business to everything that is moving cross-border and happening on the border of finance, contracts, payments, settlement, and shipment. They also provide the transparency we need to prevent fraud, crime, and tax evasion, all of which are difficult in a documentary world, and create the opportunity to remove a swath of bureaucratic duplicative processes that burden businesses, especially MSMEs. And then he posted this fundamental piece down here, this PDF titled A Digital Identity Framework for Cross-Border Trade. So let's dive in to some interesting insights from this PDF. Now, take into consideration that Chris Southworth only posted this 6 days ago. So this is all relevant and updated information. You can see the ICC United Kingdom stamp on this, the GLEIF stamp on this, which we'll also get into here in just a second. And this is from February 2025, recommendations to the government, okay? This paper is intended to help decision makers by setting out a practical, low-cost pathway for the UK to establish digital identities for cross-border trade in a way that aligns to the international system. This is going to blow your mind, people, okay? I don't know, it blew mine, so hopefully it does yours. Digital digital identities enable greater transparency across global supply chains by providing a simple, trusted means to identify a legal entity involved in finance, payments, shipment, and border systems. Establishing an interoperable, that's important. That is going to be a key vocabulary word. I feel like interoperability and interoperable have been key vocabs in like our past couple of video breakdowns. Establishing an interoperable cross-border framework for digital identities is a foundational priority to underpin the future trade ecosystem. And then it talks about key issues right down here, the importance of learning all this information for the UK and so on and so forth. And then right down here, it says recommendations to the government, okay? Automation, alignment to 2024 roadmap to digitalize UK trade interoperability being built in. Then down here, it mentions a solution diagram, okay? And it has commercial identity providers delivering value and identity services on top of trusted architecture. And you can see right here, if I zoom in, Oracle is listed as one of those commercial identity providers built out on top of trusted architecture. And if we come and we follow the arrows down to this area, it mentions global trusted architecture in the foundational layer. And it mentions that this GLF, IF, LEI, which I'll get into in just one second, is the interoperability bridge offering one-click transparent authentication. And again, you can see how Oracle is listed as a solution here, okay? This is going to play a massive role considering some recent developments with Quant. All right. But if we come down here to the explainer, just so that way you guys understand these acronyms, the LEI, or the legal entity identifier, is a unique 20-character alphanumeric code used to identify legal registered entities that engage in financial transactions. The LEI index is the global open database that stores LEI records. And then the global LEI system, globally recognized identification system for businesses and organizations. This is important. It says managed by Global Legal Entity Identifier Foundations, a nonprofit organization established by the Financial Stability Board and endorsed by the G20 to oversee the LEI system. The Bank of England and the FCA participate in the regulatory oversight committee for this organization. And if you guys remember from a fundamental piece back from 2023, Quant collaborated with the Bank of International Settlements and the Bank of England, right? Says here, this is just from Quant. We are proud to announce our role as part of the vendor team for Project Rosalind. The project, led by the Bank of International Settlements and the Bank of England, explored how application program interfaces could be used for central bank digital currency systems.
Now, y'all just saw those companies, and you know, he pointed out Oracle specifically, right? Because we know we just had that major Oracle announcement, okay? How OVERLEDGER is literally the foundation for Oracle blockchain platform solutions, which is incredible for them to be naming Quant by name and naming OVERLEDGER technology by name, which is absolutely incredible, which will touch all of their customers' blockchain processes, okay? Now, this next video, we're going to hop into ISO TC 307. Follow me on this, you guys. I want you to see all of the countries that are already either participating members or observing members of this standard. This standard has been in place since 2016, okay? It is still a live and active standard that is being met on yearly and worked on throughout the year. Understand, when you have governments and you have standard body organizations like here in America, NIST, which I've done a whole video on, but NIST has a mirroring committing to ISO TC 307, okay? But follow me on this. ISO TC 307 is a big deal, a huge deal. And to know that Quant Network is not just a part of it, but they are the creator of it. Gilbert Verdian is the creator of it, and since then have brought on 60 plus countries building out blockchain standards globally, you guys. He is over Working Group 7. I can't talk. Working Group 7, which is the working group for interoperability. And understand that OVERLEDGER is just that. That is the software as a service that gives Web3 interoperability and also gives Web2 the connection into Web3, which also gives them interoperability. Understand what's happening right in front of our faces, you guys. So this next video is coming from my boy NCASH Official. Bro, you rock, okay? I promise you do. But let's hop into ISO TC 307. You may know about it, but just stick around because you might learn something you didn't know, and I'll be right back.
ISO TC 307. This is what everyone should be looking at. If you are thinking about buying QNT and you're on the fence, research ISO TC307. Everyone is so heavily focused on ISO 20022, which again, for good measure, because it has a great deal behind it, right? We've talked about it. This is blockchain and DLT standards. This is the standardization that needs to be put in place around blockchain and DLT in order for it to be adopted and utilized. And guess who created this? That's right, the Quant team. And we already know that there's a lot of movement behind this. 44 participating members, 20 observing members, 5 ISO standards under development, and 11 published ISO standards. You can look at the entire structure behind this. You can actually see that this is tapping into DLT and carbon markets, digital currencies. I mean, there is so much here. You can even see security, privacy, and identity for blockchain and DLT, foundations, smart contracts and their applications, governance, use cases, interoperability, non-fungible tokens. Everything that you have been reading around blockchain and DLT and the adoption of it, this is the standard that needs to be put in place. And outside of this, we actually know from going all the way back to like 2019, 2020, this was written by SEQ, Crypto SEQ. I see a potential similar to that of the internet in the early 90s. We're at the cusp of something big. Blockchain can change a lot of how the internet operates and a lot of how processes operate. We just don't know what we can do yet. And this was done by authoring the ISO proposal to standardize blockchain and then establish a technical committee. The proposal was approved in October of 2016, and the ISO TC307 committee quickly grew from 5 to 53 countries and bodies such as the European Commission. These countries are outlined in the map below, and if you guys do want to go check out this map, you guys are more than welcome to. It has been continuously growing day by day. It's very exciting to see this. And you could also see some of the large areas that are already participating within this. I'm sure that you guys probably recognize a few of these major names because guess what? They are the ones that are moving very quick on blockchain and DLT. Even the US is here as well. For those that are out there saying the US is falling greatly behind, they already have their plan of action in place. But beyond this, right? Like this is for blockchain as a whole, not just specifically interoperability. Within the structure, there are multiple working groups, each focusing on different areas. Gilbert Verdian is the chairman of or for the ISO TC307 working group for interoperability of blockchain and DLT systems, which as you guys do see, here you guys have it, which we could also see that over here as well around interoperability. But beyond that,
I just saw all of those countries. Like you saw that map. You saw every piece of pink on that map. That was literally the world. Like it was insane. There was some parts of Africa that really wasn't covered, but that was technically the world. And those parts of Africa that wasn't covered, guess what? Hedera is dealing with that. So whether it's Hedera, I tell you, that's why they my number 2. Hedera is making some moves out there as well. I promise y'all they are. Like Quant Network and Hedera, I just don't know what to say about them other than wow, okay? But this next video is coming from my boy NCASH official as well. It's going a little bit deeper into ISO TC307 and those participating partners. Now, this is what I want you to understand when you see this video. Go back to the CYPRX video that I played earlier in this, and you'll see some very familiar names that are also a part of ISO TC307, okay? Tap in. If you still watching and if you're enjoying what is being disseminated to you, hit the like button for me. If you haven't already subscribe. I'm trying to bring y'all quant information and videos. I try my best every day, and I think I'm almost a month or 2 straight of just straight quant every single day because this technology, this company is doing something incredible. And it doesn't weigh lightly on me that the retail have an opportunity to literally be a part of the fabric of tomorrow, to be a part of global infrastructure for tomorrow, to be a part of the banking infrastructure for tomorrow. Understand what's happening right in front of our faces, okay, you guys? Follow me on this. Follow me, and you'll see. Check out this list Look at the names on this list and you can compare it to the video that I played earlier and you'll see Quant Network is all in this thing. It's almost like I say they're like an octopus with infinity arms. They just keep on stretching and reaching and stretching and reaching and grabbing different entities and just pulling them closer together like, come on, you can be interoperable and so can you, and so can you, and so can you, okay? Follow me on this, y'all. But here we go, that next video from my boy NCASH.
Beyond that, right? When we actually look at this standard, this is the standard that means the most around this space because this is going to allow blockchain and DLT to be tapped in for all of those major countries that are already working on ISO TC 307 or participating within it. This is a big deal. And you can see some of the companies as well that are centered out on this. Some of these organizations, like I said, are very large organizations. You have IBM on here, you have Microsoft, you have HSBC, and there's so many other ones as well. And this is, again, from like 2019, 2020. So today you can actually see a lot more of the groups by just going to this link. And under here, you could read all of the major names tied to it. You could also see the committee members themselves and also the other committees or committees under this as well. Again, all of this is heavily focused out on finance, healthcare services, agriculture, carbon credits, things like that. And guess what? This is everything that we have been talking about for a while regarding crypto and the adoption of crypto to really kind of alleviate the pain points around a lot of these industries, including, like I've said, healthcare, finance, agriculture, even carbon credits. So you need to heavily focus on ISO TC 307 when it comes to Quant because they've created this standard, and this standard is going to be heavily adopted in globally, and it already is technically. And here we have from Gilbert Verdian himself back in December of 2022. There is more to blockchain interoperability than merely choosing the right technology. As Gilbert Verdian explains, it requires global collaboration. That's why we're working with ISO standards to create the blockchain standard, ISO TC 307. Again, listen closely to this video to really understand how significant this standard is.
What we set out to do was really shape where the industry should go. And we've taken a very collaborative global approach to this by shaping what the standards should be and establishing different types of standards at different levels within different international organizations. So they're all worked on collaboratively with the industry, and they're all agreed with all members and all participants of the industry. So it's not forcing standards on top of existing systems or vendors or technology. It's actually collaboratively coming up with what a standard has to be for the industry to adopt. So that's the work that we've done with ISO, with ISO TC 307, which is the blockchain ISO standard. The concept of that was to create something similar to the payment standards that we have, like 222. Separate to that, we've been collaborating on numerous levels in numerous governments and other organizations, but we've also started creating protocol standards within the IETF and with MIT.
Now you saw at the very beginning of that video, you saw two major players, which was IBM and Microsoft. And if you know anything about when the internet was first put into place and we had dial-up internet, that was IBM's world. IBM ran that. That's why IBM was so big during the late 80s going into throughout the 90s. But then also remember that what happened coming into the 2000s? Microsoft, okay? Follow me. And then you saw Quant Network, you saw Microsoft, you saw IBM. That's Internet 1.0, that's Internet 2.0, which was Microsoft, and Internet 3.0, which is Quant Network, and more specifically, OVERLEDGER, their software as a service. Follow me on this, what I'm telling you guys. And I even threw some Gilbert in there as well. So you can really, really, truly see out of his own mouth, talking about literally TC 307, their participation in TC 307, and how they are literally codifying the whole entire sector of Web3 for all of us. Follow what I'm saying about Quant Network. It is nothing to look over. I know it's not the most sexiest project out there. I know it's you know, maybe it don't have all the hype as some of your other projects, but I would prefer a project with little hype and a lot of utility and a lot of action in the background versus a lot of hype out front and it's flat and dead in the background, okay? I want a project that's actually putting their money where their mouth is. I want a project that's actually putting the work in. And like I said before, Quant Network, they might be quiet, but when they speak, it resonates globally, okay? Follow me on this about Quant Network. It is the opportunity of a lifetime. Understand what we hold. Understand what QNT is, and that QNT is the token that powers the network. Everything that flows through OVERLEDGER, all the smart contracts that flow through OVERLEDGER, all of the transactions that flow through OVERLEDGER. I even had somebody ask about their quants. Well, okay. So yes, Quant is built on top of Ethereum, which makes them a ERC20 token. But Quant has its own token, which is a QRC20 token. Now, although Quant is an ERC20 token, but they sitting on and within OVERLEDGER makes them interoperable, which that means that their QRC20 token is interoperable. So when people start to tokenize using the QRC20 process, that gives them interoperability as far as their tokenized assets. Understand what Quant Network is doing. And understand that all of those smart contracts that will flow through as these assets are being built out, these multi-blockchain assets are being built out, they all will touch OVERLEDGER. And they all will indirectly have to use pieces of QNT to do so. And understand that this company is being coupled to global standards like ISO TC 307. It's being coupled with internet protocols, secure asset transfer protocol coming out of the IETF. Understand they have standards coming out of the blockchain standard organization in NAPA. Understand what is happening right in front of our faces. Understand how important standards are and how standards literally shape economies, because it gives that sector, no matter depending on what that standard is about, it gives them an even playing field for all of them to work in. I've used this analogy before, but I'll say it again. It's just like Apple, who is also a part of secure asset transfer protocol. Follow me on this. A screenshot came out of some of the participating members, and yes, Apple was a part of it. I'm sure that there will be some type of an announcement in regards to Apple and Quant at some point in time in the future. But understand that Apple did not want to change their charger port on their iPhone 16. They had no choice because their new charger that's on the Apple phone, that is the new global standard for charging. They had to conform to the standard. Follow what I'm talking about Quant Network and them codifying standards globally, okay? Globally. But I thank y'all so much for tapping in, for real. And if y'all made it through this whole entire rant, type in ISO TC 307 if you made it all the way through to the end of this video. And to the next time, y'all already know, I truly do thank y'all. Peace out.